Shruti, that was good. That's the International Peace Chant that I said that you all need to study, because it's respecting all traditions. No tradition, truth is one, casa many, let us live in peace and joy. And that was invented by Sri Swami Satchidananda. And I just think it's so lovely to respect all the traditions. We are studying kleshas, ignorance. It's neither about attachment or aversion. Nowadays, because so many people are tired of that name called God, poor God, what did God do? That they go, I don't want religion. And that also creates problems. I don't like this religion. Also creates problems. So it's neither about not liking or liking. It is there, they are there. If you don't like it, stay away from it, but respect all. And yoga is not about changing your religion either. If you have a religion and you love your religion, you shouldn't change it. Why should you change anything? Yoga is a science, how to really understand your religion in the truest, purest way. So if you're a Catholic and a Christian, you enjoy going to church, keep going. Just don't look at everybody else who is doing it out of just habit. Don't look at anybody. Look at yourself and what you're doing in the church or what you're feeling there. Churches are great places. I love them. I always like to walk into an empty church, though. It makes me very happy everywhere I visit. Oh, it's off hours. I'm going into the church and pray. It's really very nice. Or Buddhist temple or Hindu temple. Because they really hold a lot of energy. A lot of people really, really believe what they believe from their hearts. Just because they're ignorant doesn't make them bad. Do you see what I'm saying? It's just that they don't know better. That's all they know. And so many people live in fear. They really believe, that they can't find God except through fear and punishment and suffering. Many people tell me that, when they see me, oh, I'm suffering because I'm such an evil person. I say, everybody suffers. So we're all evil. So let's try to be good so we don't suffer. Instead of feeling so bad about it, just change it. God is about love, is about goodness and about kindness. How do we know that? Simply. So simple. When you feel that, you're happy. It's so simple. When you don't feel that, you're unhappy. And what are we all looking for? Peace, happiness, joy. Everybody's looking for those things. So all you have to do is eliminate that. It doesn't make me happy, doesn't give me peace. That's all you have to do. It's that simple. And then you resonate. You resonate with the power of that God of love. And when you resonate with it, when you're in the equal energy with it, it will tell you what you need to know. It'll show you what to do next. And that's having the faith just to know that. And the science of yoga is just that. Getting connected with your spiritual source. Just turning on the voltage. And literally it is turning on the voltage. Because if you look at your physical anatomy, you will see that is exactly the case. If you look at your physical anatomy, you've got the brain, which is full of wires here. As the Bhagavad Gita calls it, the upside down tree. And then you've got your brain stem, and then you've got your spine and all the nerves encased, and they come out in little bits all over your body. It's really a wiring system. So you can energize your wiring system and connect with the divine energy through your emotional centers when they're purified, through your brain cells when they're purified, and then you can have a connection. That's what it's about. And then you feel the peace and the joy. Are you warm enough there? Would you like a blanket or something? Great. So today we're going to cover which sutra? I've got so many numbers. Wow.
Page 95.
Yeah. Page 95. I think I forgot to bring my glasses, so. Oh, thank you. So, Thomas, are you 2 weeks from
No, 1.5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank What about you?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
I'm two and two. I'm two, but this is fine. Page 95. So this is the last one. Now, last week we talked about where all the obstacles originate from, right? In a subtle form, these obstacles can be destroyed by resolving them back to their primal cause. In the active state, they can be destroyed by meditation. Let me just recap on this really quickly. The cause of all our suffering, everything, first of all, we know is ignorance, right? Now, when you're ignorant, you focus very much on the I factor. I want this, I need this, I have to have this, isn't it true? And when you don't get what you want, how do you feel? Unhappy. So when you get a little knowledge, what happens? You understand that many times, many things, for example, I'll give you an example. Many years ago, before I started yoga, I thought I was a good person, but there are many people I didn't like. I thought there was people were hurting me, punishing me. This is the way I looked at things. God was punishing me. Life was punishing me. That's the way I really felt. I really believed that. Until I studied the science. And then with knowledge, I realized, oh my God, nobody is punishing me. These people have come into my life to make me so unhappy, so that I look for something with more meaning. So, if they didn't come to my life, I would not be looking for something with more meaning. So these people are actually my teachers. They've chosen the path to hurt me so that I can grow. Otherwise, I would have stayed in my sick world till the end of my life, complaining, bitter, unhappy. And that would be based on ignorance. Because when I learned the truth, as we all do with knowledge, what did I realize? That really my life wasn't so bad as I had painted it. That really all my problems were based on my attachments and desires and things that I thought I needed that I didn't really need. Yes, it was difficult to understand all that and took me a long time. And it takes a long time for us to understand that. But with the science of yoga, with knowledge, what happens is you start to see things very clearly, right? So when you sit down for meditation, like I said last week, all these, you can see all your thoughts coming out. You can see it. But by meditation alone, you really can't get rid of it. The only way you can get rid of those thoughts is when you look at them, when they come up, you look at them. And then you say, why do these thoughts disturb me? And you'll come back to the very fact that you think that you're the only person that exists in this world. And that when somebody insults you, they're insulting you. How dare they insult you? Everything is taken. You will see that everything you have been taking on a very personal level. So when you can see that, and you don't take it on a personal level, there's a freedom. And that could be, and the meaning of that is when you realize that all your problems are based on how you see yourself, the ego. That's where it starts. Then you can fix it. Then you can fix it. And that's the psychological makeup of the yoga science. The meditation helps to bring it out. Helps you connect. How? Because in meditation, you connect with the witness. You can see who is the one that is watching my mind think. You know, who is the one that can see the good side and the bad side, as you said in some of your talks, the angel and the demon. Who is that one that is neutral, that is watching all this that's happening in my mind? That one is neutral. That one just watches. And then our intelligence, depending on how intelligent we are, will decipher the information. Do you see how that works? So it's really important to have, whenever you hear any story, any gossip, or things like that, to base it on fact. Get the knowledge before you get to overcome by people's words. Alright? That's all that is saying. In the active state, it can be destroyed by meditation. When you get it up there, you can sort it out and you can fix it. And know that it comes from your ego. Your sense of I. And this is why the great Ramana Maharishi said the best meditation you can do for him, a Jnana Yogi, would be ask yourself, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who was I before I came to this body? Who am I after I leave this body? Who am I? Am I young? Am I old? Am I middle-aged? I had a baby's body at one time, and look at me now. Is that the same? I? Look at me at the way I thought when I was 15 and the way I think now at 58. Is it the same I? So who is the real I? And what keeps changing? Who is changing? What is changing? And by constantly asking these questions to yourself, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? You will see, oh my God. As Gurudev says, I'm not this body. This body is on loan. I'm really not this body. It's on loan. I leave this body behind. I'm not this mind. Because this mind, while I'm living on earth, is connected with everyday affairs, you know. It's like a mirror. It reflects everything. All day long it's thinking on things that are happening here on this earth. So if you're leaving this earth, what will the mind have? Do you see? So who am I? And once you understood, oh my God, I'm much more than this body, I'm much more than this mind, I'm immortal. I'm the witness that watches everything. Once you really start to see that, over the years, it comes by itself. When you keep asking yourself that question, one day you just see it, you just know, you experience it. And then you can really live a better life. Because when the ego I comes up, the I want, I need, you look at yourself and say, I know you want, I know you need, but no need to get so upset about it. If you really need it and you really want it, you'll get it. And if you don't really need it, you won't. You won't even get angry with yourself for wanting it. You're human. Why not? It's normal to have desires as a human being, isn't it? But the difference is you won't be attached to them because you know this wanting is temporary. And you won't judge yourself so much that, oh, I'm a bad person because I really want this nice car. No, I really want this nice car. Doesn't make me a bad person, doesn't make me materialistic. If I'm due to have it, I'll have it, great. If I'm not due to have it, no problem. If you get it, you shouldn't feel guilty. Enjoy it, share it with others. Do you know what I'm saying? There's no attachment, there's no aversion. Because there's no attachment and no aversion to anything, no guilt, no fear, no worry, how do you feel? The sense of freedom. It's freedom. You can enjoy it all or not enjoy it all. It doesn't really matter because, you know, anyway, nothing is yours. Wow. And you'll get up in the morning, wow, I got this new car. And it gets a dent. Wow, I got a new car with a dent. No big deal. You really won't find it a big deal. In fact, you'll think, poor car, why did I spoil you? Why did I hurt you? That's the way you will think. You won't think, my car's dented, oh, I've just spent, oh, poor car, how did I hurt you? Because the car will be material to you, like in some way you're material too. So the car has energy too. And don't tell me it doesn't, because cars do. Don't they? They talk to you, you know? They know when the owner loves it and they don't love it. They feel it. Really, really, really. I've done many experiments with cars. I remember once we were in India with my parents, and they picked me up from the airport. I was going on pilgrimage with them. They had a driver. The car stalled halfway there. And he says, "Oh, madam, broken, cannot fix, cannot fix." So my father said, "Okay, call somebody, get another driver down here, we'll wait here." And it was quite a dangerous place, many beggars, and I don't know if you know India, in those days when you're standing there and you look nicely dressed, they surround you. They don't let you go, and they go, "Money, money, money." So I just said to Dad and Mom, I said, "Shall we try our Om Namah Shivayas?" And they go, "Okay." So 3 of us, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah. I said, "Driver, try. Once, twice, 3 times. Yay, the car went." But you can try these things with your own cars. It's really quite interesting because it's energy, right? So when you work on an energy level, things have energy. It's just transmission of energy, that's all. Everything works on energy. So you try it yourself. Well, now it's been proven that when you bless water, it has great energy. Hasn't it been proven? And when you curse it, it has negative energy. So my advice to people, when there are problems in the house and they come to me, "Oh, Nalanie, there are evil spirits. Oh, there's a negative force." Sometimes, I do know people do practice these horrible crafts. And they do. I know many who used to, practice this negative energy towards people. So I tell them, don't think so much about them who are doing this. What you do is you make holy water yourself in your house. Who would love your family more than you? Nobody. Who will love your home more than you? Nobody. So, you make holy water. Nice blue is a healing color, and blue glass is nice. And you put it by the sun, and you do your prayers, bless this house. This house is full of peace and joy, love and light. And you sprinkle every day your house. Every day. Go through all the rooms and bless it. Love you, love you. In time, all the negative energies will be gone. And do you know how many times people have come back to me and said, it worked? I remember there was this young lady who used to work for me, and she got married and she moved into a new home. And she had a poltergeist. She said every night the washing machine would go on, the iron will bang. She got really, really scared. So she was Catholic, so she called the priest in to do an exorcism. So for 1 or 2 weeks it was quiet. Again, middle of the night, banging of doors and washing machine. I said, look, I don't know too much about these things, but try the holy water, and just see light everywhere and say to whoever you are, please go to the light, please go to the light, go to the light. I'm praying for you to go to the light. So she did it. Gone. It went. After 1 week, everything stopped. And she lived in that house after that. I think she had many children there or whatever. But it was quite interesting that when she did it herself with her love and her good energy, after 1 week, everything had stopped. So all I know is, as you think, it becomes. And if you believe in positive energy, it will become. And if you have complete faith, nothing is. It's the faith, right? So many of us will do things, but we won't have the faith in it. You say, "Why didn't it work? I did it." But of course you're doing it, not sure it's going to work. It won't work. Absolutely sure it won't work. You have to have complete faith. So when I told her it always works, she came back to me and said, it worked. Don't put down into people's head. But if maybe, and it doesn't work. Then their faith is built up and they do it. And then they feel so good that they heal their house. So, I don't know why we got into that energy, transmission and all that.
We need to hear it.
Well, listen to do, okay, just do that. And I know that when I first started yoga, I was told even by the police force, because I had a couple of policemen in Gibraltar when I was teaching from the temple in the old days, when we didn't have our center yet, and they used to come to some of my talks, and they told me that actually they caught a group of people up in the rock in Gibraltar, and they were doing black magic on me.
On you?
Yeah, on me, yeah. They found out it was on me because of the yoga stuff and everything that was there. They wanted to burn it. And so I said, I'm not scared. But they were really upset. They said, look, don't give it energy. Please don't give it energy. Please. The more energy you give it, the more power you give them.
Yeah.
You know, don't give them power, I'll send them light. Nalanie, how can you send them light? I said, you can't fight fire with fire. So really, that's all I did. That's all I did. And I think I'm fine. Maybe I fractured the same foot twice. So sometimes I think they put a nail on this fifth metatarsal. The same foot twice, you know. It's quite something. Made me laugh. Nothing wrong with that. A fractured foot taught me how people feel when they hurt themselves. Taught me about pain. Nothing wrong in anything. See, don't give it energy. That's what I learned. The moment you start saying, and what, and this, and you know, somebody can, oh, Nalanie, that happened to you. You know, did you see the way you fell? The person who was with me at that time, because like somebody had pushed me, nobody had pushed me. You know, it's them. I said, I don't want to give it any energy. My karma. Maybe they did it. But my karma, to receive it. So, let's not give it more, let's cure it fast. Do you see, you cut it in, you just cut it. Immediately something happens, you work immediately with the forces of righteousness and goodness. And then they can't come more, it can't go further. It stops just there. It stops just there. So I don't know whether they exist or not. All I do know, I really do know, that good energy works. That's how I know it. So it's really, really, really interesting. So maybe that's why I said it for you. I don't know why I would bring up something like this today. So last week we started to talk about karmas, right? Before I talk about karmas, I keep looking at Carol. Carol, are you okay? You just lost your mom. Are you okay? Yeah. Yeah? I'm so glad you made it to see her. Was it sudden? So lucky you planned to go on holiday there, right?
Well, I didn't. I went quickly.
Pardon?
I had planned to go there. I went quickly.
Oh, you went quickly, so you made it in time. Oh, I thought you had already gone there. Good, I'm so glad you made it on time. You okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, quite a few of you have had family, yeah? So it's been a difficult Christmas for many people. So we'll go back to the womb of karmas. The womb of karmas, action and reactions, has its root in these obstacles. And the karmas bring experiences in the seen, present, or in the unseen, future births. Thank you, Kamala. And I think we covered a little bit about karma last week, and I didn't finish about it. So the womb of karmas, action and reaction, has its root in these obstacles. So in other words, it says, why do we keep coming back to life? Why do we keep coming back to life? Why do we have action and reaction? Why does something negative happen to us? Why? Because either we were, where does it have its root? Ignorant. Too much in our egoism, you can say it the other way. Too much attachment. Hatred. We were so attached to our bodies that we didn't want to lose them. I don't want to die, I don't want to die, you die, you want to come back. Right? So here it says is, that's why it's action and reaction, because we were in ignorance, or we were in egoism, we were in attachment, or even I don't want. You know, that's why when people tell me, oh Nalanie, I want this to be my last life. It's going to be my last life. I said, do you have any control over it? I said, have any control? I don't even think they know that, you know. And I'm never coming back again. I said, I don't want, it's also aversion. You can say all you want, but if you have karmas, whether you want or don't want, it's going to happen. You're going to come back. And I said, anyway, we're all immortal, aren't we? We are never going to die. It's no beginning, no end, right? So we may change form. We're never going to die. So what do you want to come back? Something else, you know? Do you want to come back as a bug or a bee? Aversion is also not good. And you know, in his, just before Swami Vivekananda passed away, he came to the realization and he said, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. all I ask if I'm born again is to never forget you, Lord. Just promise me that if I have to be born again, I can always remember you and I can always serve my fellow man. And then I'm happy to be born again. And you know, that really touched me. It really touched me. I thought that was such a beautiful sacrifice, you know. And prior to that, he wrote in his autobiography, I think it was, or one of his books, that he had always thought, this is my last life. I'm doing all these practices because this is going to be my last life. But then there's so many more lives in different realms. So, you know, I just say, keep the mind clean, make it simple. I love to teach people that. Make it simple, make it pure, make it easy, do good, be good. And then you can't go wrong, you know? You'll be looked after. Make it simple. So here it says, everything that happens is because of these obstacles. And because of the past being like this, many of these things will happen to us in this life. So last week I started to speak about through 3 different types of karma. Do you remember any of them? Prarabdha karma, Agami karma, Sanjita karma. Very good. Okay. So, we come to this world with this karma. Prarabdha karma is the karma what we have reaped in previous lives, or even in this life, we experience in this life. So as we sow, we have to reap it. We can't stop it. So let's say today you decide to be really good and to do many, many good things, thinking, I'm only doing good deeds because I want to be good. And many good people tell me that, and suddenly something bad happens to you. Oh, why has this happened to me? I've only tried to be good. Why is it? And that's just karma. Alright? It's come from before. You just have to face it. With knowledge, without complaint, accepting the karma, you overcome it very quickly. You overcome it very quickly. So this is prarabdha karma. You still have to go through it, no matter what happens. And this is what many people said about Lord Jesus, you know, in our Hindu tradition. It's page 95. Is that what
I was just trying to catch up on my phone before.
Okay. And they said the reason why he had to die on the cross, for example, that was what people thought he died on the cross, but there are many, many stories that he didn't. And according to my master, when he told me in Bali, told us all in Bali, he said he didn't die on the cross. He had his yogic breath, which he held, and his disciples all knew that he had the capability of holding his breath, and that they were taken down, and he was taken to be buried. And of course, he went to India in a cave called Isa's cave, and there lived and had a family and taught for the rest of his life. There's a book called Jesus Lived in India. It has many facts, but actually our master told us that. He said, and it's called Isa's Cave, I-S-A. I think there was a documentary recently on BBC on that as well. You know? On BBC.
Isa's Cave?
That Jesus lived in India.
No, where in India?
BBC.
No.
Where in India?
Where in India?
In the north of India. I'm not sure where, near the Himalayas somewhere. Yeah, around the Himalayas.
Can you actually visit it?
Yes, you can visit it, apparently. You can visit it. I'm reading the book. I've just got the book. I'm reading it, but don't have much time to read. But I'll find out there any details. It's not my book. Somebody lent it to me. It's really interesting. It's all based on historical facts and study and proof and things like that. So if I read anything interesting, in Hong Kong I'll be on holiday a little bit. I'll be able to have some time to read. So if I can find out anything interesting, I'll let you know. I can give Kamala the name and the author in case you want to read the book. Right? It's a study done. And you know, we're so funny because my master told us this in Bali, when was it, 2000?
No, 1999.
1999, because somebody asked about it. So anyway, the fact that he died on the cross, he had to go through, was the last of his karmas from all the lifetimes he lived. And one big sacrifice. It was all done. That's what, and also if you read the Bible, and he says, Lord Jesus says, in the Transfiguration, what does he say? I am Elijah, and what was the other name? Does anybody know? Come again. It's in the New Testament. I'll find it for you. I studied it as a child, and I remember going to my teacher and I saying to her, he's saying, I'm these two people, come again. Isn't that reincarnation? She said, no, 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 no. So why is he saying he's those people come again? She couldn't answer me.
Enoch.
Enoch, was it Enoch? Thank you. Come again to this life, right? So, talking, that's Prabdha Karma. Agami Karma is what you can do this moment. Now, that's why all the New Age thinkers, the power of now. What you sow now, you can guarantee in your future. So, do good deeds now, sow good seeds now. But if you live like that and meditate, anyway, naturally, you will do what we call neither good, oh, I know it's a different level altogether. It's neither good, neither bad. You just do what has to be done. And sometimes it looks bad to someone else, but you're working from a higher source, maybe to advance a person to another degree. So long as you are not attached to what people say is good or bad, you'll be guided as what the action is and should be. Really, ultimately, there is no good or bad when you transcend it all. But that's a little difficult to understand. It took me many years, so don't rush on that. When I first heard it, I go, of course there's good and bad. Yes, on one level, there is good and bad. On this earth, definitely. That's how we create action-reaction. But as you climb up the ladder of understanding spirituality, there's really no good or bad. It's all circumstances, situations that come to people because of their karmic interaction. One action leads to another, leads to another. So you don't see it as bad. You see it as, oh my God, it's just because that person did this, that this happened to them, that happened to them, and that happened to them. You see it as a sequence of events. But you will not think bad. To the rest of the world, they'll think bad. And this is why in the Bhagavad Gita says, to a yogi, night is day. And to an ordinary person, day is night. Meaning that you see things from a totally different angle. As you get more and more spiritual, you see things from a different angle. Because you don't see from society. You see it as if you're looking down and go, and you're watching it. And you understand why things happen. But when you live in the world, of course, you have to make certain judgments. For example, if a criminal came in this room and tried to kill you all, I would have to make a judgment. And the judgment, if he had a gun and I had a gun and he was about to shoot you all, what will I say? I'm a yogi, I'm not going to shoot you. I'd shoot his leg to protect you. I would. Because I'd risk 30 lives. Because I'm non-violent. 30 people would die, including him. Yes, exactly. So you see things differently. Really, you see it. You never do anything to hurt. You do everything to save and protect. And of course, you will always protect the majority. So you see things really very different. And if you're shot, you wouldn't feel bad about it because you know. Maybe the news was bad, what a bad action, she controlled herself. But you know why you did it. So it's a totally different way of being. So, and finally, with that, so everything you do, and that kind of action, without the attachment or the aversion, has no reaction. Because there's no attachment to the action. It's purely done for the highest. has no reaction. So you free yourself when you do those kind of actions for the highest good, for all people. And then we've got the third one, which is Sanjita. We all have had many, 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 many lifetimes. Because if we're immortal, what else have we been doing all those past years? Just because you can't remember them. And many people say, Nalanie, why can't we remember it? Don't you think that's a twist of evil fate? And I go, absolutely not. If you can't deal with your problems in one life, you think you can deal with them, all the problems, your psychological problems in your previous life? You could have been a murderer. You could have had a horrible death. You know, and I remember, I'll give you an example of this. You know, once I was doing a RTT in Portugal, and one of my students, she was a teacher herself, she'd been teaching quite a long time, and she came to study the Raj. She was a Hatha yoga teacher, and she came to study the Raj. One day, well, as you all have to do your talks on Saturday, she just sat in front, can't do it, can't do it, can't do it, can't do it. And she was one of the ones that was a teacher. And she started crying and sobbing and walked out of the hall. And of course, I thought, this is really odd behavior for somebody who's been a teacher for so long. So I went outside later on, after the class was over. What was that all about? You've been a teacher for so long, why couldn't you talk? I don't understand. You become a really bad example for the rest of the group. So, because you're one of the older ones. And then she said to me, no, Nalanie, it's not my fault. I said, why? I'm not saying it's a fault, but tell me, why did you behave like this? And then she told me, she said, you know, a few weeks ago, I went to have some regression done. And she said she was brought to a previous lifetime when she used to be a, female doctor, right? She's used herbs and whatnot to cure people and heal people psychologically, physically. And because of that, she was a woman. In those times, they called her a witch. And because they couldn't, everybody went to her and everybody loved her, because she wasn't worried about her own life, so she didn't care about the threats. What they would do is the people, the landlords would kill, or the people of the village, the elders, would kill all the women so that she would suffer. So, and she used to speak out for the truth, and all these women would protect her, and the more she spoke out, the more people that got killed that protected her. So she said, oh, when I had that experience in my regression, I felt so horrible, so horrible, so horrible, that I couldn't speak today. Because if I speak, what happens? If somebody should get killed because of me? And I said, hello, good morning, we're in the 21st century now. There's nobody going to burn you at the stake, or any of us at the stake, and if they do, we'll fight back. I said, good morning. And just, do you see? She listened, it became so much a part, something that was so far away, 15th century, she brought to today. What's the point? What is the point? I said, it's gone, finished. And this life, you can use your voice as freely as possible. That's why you're a teacher. So use it to help more people. Nobody's going to kill you this life, you know. At least not here in this place in Quinta da Calma. It's quite peaceful here. And all of us, yeah.
Quinta da Calma?
Yeah, it was in Quinta da Calma.
I remember,
yeah. So I said, it's so peaceful here. Nobody's going to hurt you. And then a button switched. And then the next time she had to give a talk, everybody was like, oh, she's brilliant. Why did she suffer so much the first time? So you see, when thoughts are injected in your mind, you have to be very careful what you allow in. You have to be very careful. You have to know yourself, how strong you are. Sometimes people can say things to you and it goes right in. You have to be really careful what you digest and what you don't want. All right? And because once you're caught, you go into this, what I call the black cloud. You cannot see real. You go totally into ignorance. And for you, that reality is so black and so true. many people are like that. I see many people and I say, oh no, you're in a black cloud. You need to get out. Climb up. Get out of this. Snap out of it. Snap. Sometimes I really say snap. It's not happening now. That was 5 years ago, or that was 20 years ago. It's not happening today. What is happening now? What is happening today? Oh, somebody swore at me 10 years, he's going to do it now. That was 10 years ago. Why are you still carrying it? Why are you still carrying it? It was 10 years ago. Wake up. Did this person swear at you today? No. Did that person swear at you 2 weeks ago? No. But that person said that to me 10 years ago. What kind of world are you living in? You're not able to enjoy now. Okay, so this is agami. So you can do a lot of things with now by understanding the truth. And then finally, we got Sanjita Karma, like I said. And Gurudev explains it like, when we come to earth, what happens is we get a certain design. Right? All of us are manufactured in a certain design, which we have a choice in helping to choose. And in this design, all the karmas can fit into this design on this life, on this earth, will come into this body. We have many lifetimes, so maybe one from 500 years ago, one from 200 years ago, one from 100. The matrix of other people that you've been with, also choosing the same time. See, everything has to click. It's like a netting, you know, everything has to click into place. So all these karmas with these people will be finished in this lifetime, right? So that's why you get the body to finish it in this lifetime, or to complete certain karmas. But there's still a lot more that you can't finish with just one short lifetime. You know, Buddha could see all his 500,000 lives. We don't know how many hundreds of thousands of lives we have. We don't know how many we've had. So we can't fit it all into one lifetime. And that's called Sanjita Karma. And I love the way Gurudev explains it, because he makes it very simple. Alright? Think of a target, okay, in front of you. Think you're the bowman. Imagine the quiver full of arrows behind you. Alright? The bow is this lifetime. And you've got Agami Karma, which is the arrow, right? You got the arrow. Now you can decide where to pull the arrow to. You hit target, you're done. You're done. If you miss target, there's more action, reaction. You keep going, and you keep going. It's like the story that Gurudev tells in, I think, the earlier part of this book. There are two people in the forest. One is meditating. Om, 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 om. And in our Hindu tradition, we have this saint called Narada. It's like your angel Gabriel or Michelangelo. It's an angel. And he comes and visits earth and visits all the devotees of God and man. So he comes down, and this saint recognizes Narada. Narada, I know you're very close to Lord Shiva. Please, 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 can you ask Lord Shiva how many more lifetimes I have to live? I've been meditating so long. I come back next year, Narada said, and I will let you know. Then he goes further into a forest. There's a band singing and dancing. Hari Om, da da da, having a great time. And he goes, Narada, I recognize you. You're going to see Lord Shiva. Can you please ask Lord Shiva how many more lifetimes I have to live in this world? Smiling. And he goes, Narada said, I'll come back next year and let you know. I'll come back in a while and let you know. So Narada comes back, and this man, meditating so long that he has an anthill all around him. And so he goes, Narada, what did Lord Shiva say? Oh, Lord Shiva said, you have 4 more lifetimes, only 4 more lifetimes. And he goes, what? I've been meditating and I still have 4 more lifetimes? Sorry. And then he goes to the man who's singing Hari Om. Narada, how Narada looks, you see that tree? Yeah? See all the leaves on that tree? Yes. That's how many more lifetimes you have on this earth. And he goes, that's all? You mean, I can't count all the leaves on the trees. Fantastic, that's so. So he starts singing. At that moment, a chariot comes up and says, there's no need, come with us, you're done. Did you understand that? You're done. There's no fear, there's no anguish, total freedom. You have no more lessons to learn, right? You're done, you're free. And that's what we can do. And that's why we practice yoga. Otherwise we go into the wheel of cause and effect, as Buddhism says, the wheel of life. Action, reaction, pain, joy, sorrow, pain, joy, sorrow, pain, joy, sorrow. And how we jump out is, don't react to either. I'm having fun, I'm singing, don't sing, no problem. Good luck.
Who
knows? And then you're free. No more lifetime. So that is exactly what that is saying in this sutra. You know, over and over again, as I study, all these great books and study all the different religions, etc., I see that the way to freedom is really in keeping the mind quite simple. In the beginning, when you start the study, there's a lot of analyzing, there's a lot of learning. That is necessary. There's a lot of discipline. That is necessary. In the beginning, you just have to have the discipline, study. Because why? So you get the knowledge. So if something goes wrong, you can understand why. So now you understand, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So what happens? The next time something happens to you, instead of getting angry with the world and when you get angry, you suffer, and then there's more reaction. Because isn't it true, when you are angry, what happens? Your actions are very impulsive, aren't they? They're impulsive. So you really, Saint Tiruvallava tells us, a word is like a bird. Once you've said it, too late. You can't bring it back. You can say sorry. It's too late. You've cut the other person. Haven't you noticed? Sometimes it's too late. You can't bring it back. So with this study, you learn, okay, hold. Don't cause a reaction. So what happens is you are not sowing reactions for the future. You're just sowing good seeds. And over time, with discipline, in the beginning, like I said, Bhagavad Gita says, what is poison in the beginning is nectar in the end. Yes, it seems a lot of work, a lot of study. I sit down, meditate, do hatha yoga, I do pranayama. Oh, what a lot of things to do. I have better things to do with my time. In the beginning, it would seem like that. My advice is, in the beginning, do it. Be really good with your discipline. Because as you discipline the body, you start to discipline the mind. When you discipline the mind, when you have some kind of strength, you build this kind of strength in you. You build this focus. I really feel like doing hatha. No, do it. You're fighting against laziness. You're fighting against the forces of nature. So what are you actually doing? You're practicing your own willpower. You're practicing your own willpower. That's all you're doing. Because we go to the gym, you go for your body, you can practice that, and then you have a great body. But one day you're going to lose your body. So our master always used to say, spend time building up your spiritual muscles. Just make yourself a routine, day after day after day. I did that for 5 years, even before teaching. I never wanted to be a teacher, to be quite honest, and I don't consider myself one. I just share what I have learned. Every day, rain or shine, And I made myself a promise, and I've kept it now for 18 years, that I will not eat until I meditate. Doesn't matter if I'm in hospital, plane, time, anything. I will not eat. If I'm sleeping on a plane, they bring me breakfast, I won't eat it. I'll meditate first. Just take my breakfast away, doesn't matter. I will not eat till I meditate. Now, I made myself that promise, so that in that discipline, and I've kept it till 18 years now. In the hospital, sometimes you don't sleep all night, and then they bring you breakfast, and you're starving, and you haven't eaten for maybe 2 days. I won't eat till I meditated. And then, after a while, the habit takes you over. It's like brushing your teeth in the morning. You don't even have to think. Do I meditate? Don't meditate. It takes you over. And then you find, with time, what happens is the mind by itself becomes still during the day. In everything you do, you become more focused. You know, if you read a sutra, let's say something is bothering you, immediately you start reading, you can focus back. You have command of your mind. And the mind keeps going somewhere else. And then you're down the page, I didn't read it. My mind was something else. I haven't understood it. And you can bring the mind back very quickly. And that's what the practices of discipline gives you. Till one day, you really don't need to have a formal practice anymore. Until you get there, have a formal practice. You know, a lot of people say, oh, now only after 2 or 3 years, they tell me, oh, you know, I meditate all the time, and then a year later they come back with this screaming and getting agitated. I said, really? You meditate all the time? And why are you swearing away and screaming it away and so miserable? Are you really control? Are you fooling yourself? Don't stop till you're connected. Well, some people say, I don't like to sit quiet and meditate, my mind overtakes me. Don't have to meditate like this if you can't. Go sit in a garden, stare at nature, go down by the seaside, watch the sea roll in and roll out. You'll hear the sounds from the waves as it crashes the shore. I spent we used to have a place in Kalahonda by the beach. I spent many mornings just sitting on the beach watching the waves go in, out. What a nice, easy way. Because you're just watching the waves in, out, and you see all the colors, and when the sun rises, all the diamonds on the sea. You know, and then the mind is so clear. It's very clear, because there's no, I have to do this, and da-da-da-da-da, this one said that, and just clear. It's just clear. So find something that you can spend time on your own. Nobody can spend that time with you. It's nice to have a friend to go for a nice walk and do mantras together. That's absolutely lovely. But really, we come alone, and we will go alone. Most of us will, you know. Let's bump heads here and we'll all go together. That'd be really cool, though, wouldn't it? We'll be talking about divine, so as we think, it will become.
Yeah, don't manifest it. Don't manifest it.
I won't manifest it. Not the time. It's not the time. You know, when we went to India together, 34 of us, and we had a really bad bus driver coming down the mountain from a mountain top. And you know, we really could have lost our lives, you know. There was another bus coming up, it was so close, this much, falling down the cliff. We're all there, tram, and you know, everybody's like, ah! And I go, oh, look, if we die, we'll all go together, sing tram, we'll meet. And we laughed, we didn't die, we lived. We're very blessed, we were protected, totally protected. And well, when our time comes, it will come. We don't know when. But, you know, that's why we don't know when. So it's really important to keep the mind quite simply peaceful as much as you can. And like I said, in the beginning, it's hard. Don't get angry with yourself when it's hard. The last thing you apply on yourself is stress. Then don't meditate, please. And don't give yourself, I've got to do it for 1 hour, 15 minutes. Don't do that to yourself, because you know it's going to be stress for you. you start with, I'm going to start with 5 minutes every morning. Every morning. I'm going to spend time with me. I'm going to spend time with who am I, who am I, who am I. I'm going to spend time with me. Go get to know myself a little bit. You know, who is, for example, that's why, who's Nalanie and who's the God in Nalanie? I want to know. If there's a God in me, I want to recognize it before I die. Because if I recognize it in me, I'll recognize it in everybody else, right? And that's what all the greatest masters say. When you understand the microcosm, everything we have, and all the information of everything is inside all of us, in our cell, in our cells. So your cell and my cells have the same blueprint from the beginning of time, the same. So if you recognize that in yourself, you can start to recognize it in everyone. So you do the internal, who am I, who am I, who am I? And then you'll be guided what to do with life. And I'd like to tell you a little story that taught me, you know, what's good, what's bad, what's holy, what's unholy. Because we all have like fixed, very stuck ways of thinking. Not this group, I have to say. You're really quite open-minded and very lovely in your talks. I mean, I wish everybody could hear their Saturday talks. They're quite brilliant. You show an open-mindedness, already a higher level of thinking, which is wonderful to see. And very, very willing to look at yourselves. But most of us are stuck in, you know, this has to be done this way before it's right, and this has to be done that way before it's wrong. You know what I mean? We need to break all of these boxes. And one of the stories Gurudev told me was, made a big difference to me. I don't know why, but it really, really did. And the story goes like this. There was, maybe some of you have heard it, because I've said it quite a lot of times. There was this Swami, this monk, sitting many years meditating. And of course, when you meditate a lot and sitting under a tree, you do develop, like I said, some energy flows, or we call it siddhis. Can you say the word siddhis? Siddhis. Yes, siddhis. Or powers. You develop. It's everybody who's in this kind of work will know that. And so one day he was like sitting there, and a bird poo-pooed on him. And he got so angry when he, like this, and he said, "You bird, burn!" And suddenly the bird burnt. Oh my God, the Swami went, oh my God, he didn't really mean it. He just said it out of the blue. He just said it and it happened. So it went to his head, oh my God, I'm a powerful Swami now. I'm so powerful. And how he was always humble in the past. And he would go, you know, from house to ask for food. And in India, it's a custom, when you see a holy person, you always give them food. Anyway, this day he was like, gone to this lady's house, which he used to visit very often. And he started calling, "Lady, lady, I'm hungry, give me food." He never asked like that. But today was like, I'm so important because I can burn the bird. I must be really powerful like God, you know? So, "Lady, lady, give me food." So she opens her window. She said, "Swami, what do you think? You can burn me like you did the bird?" Said, "I am busy. I have a very sick husband and I need to look after him. Once I've settled him, I'll bring you food." The Swami was shocked. How does she know that? That happened so far away, a few miles down the road. She's with her husband. So he was suddenly very curious. So she walks out with the food. "Swami, don't do that to me." And he took the food. He said, "But tell me, how come you knew what I did to the bird?" And she goes, "I don't know. I don't know how I know. I just know that I do what I have to do. I do my duty every day. My God has given me a sick husband, and I look after him. I just look after him and look after him and look after him. And sometimes I have visions. I just get visions. And I had the vision of you burning the bird. But if you want to know more, you should go and see the butcher in the next village." He said, "What? A butcher selling meat? What can a butcher teach me? She said, oh, he's very wise. He can tell you more. I don't know anything. So he went to the butcher in the next village, and he went to the butcher's shop, and the butcher was selling meat. Yes, yeah. He saw the butcher was like a normal businessman, business person, didn't overcharge, didn't undercharge, a perfect businessman. So he told the butcher, I need to speak to you, and the butcher said, no problem. When I close, I will attend to you, but I have to do my duty. So when he closed the shop, he said, come to my house, and I'll give you a meal, Swamiji. But first, while you're having your meal, I have two very old parents, and I need to look after them. And then I need to wash them, give them some food, and then I'll sit with you. So he washed his parents, he gave his parents his food, and then he went and sat with the Swami. So the Swami said, I don't understand. The lady from the next village said you have a lot to tell me, but I'm surprised what you, a butcher, can teach me. And why are you, a butcher, not vegetarian? So the butcher laughs and he goes, you know, this is what I was brought up with, this is my parents' business, and I just continue. I am vegetarian, but I have no aversion towards selling other people meat. He said, I'm a vegetarian, and I'm cooking vegetarian food. This is the business, I accept it. Without the business, I cannot look after my parents. So I'm looking after my parents. And he said, and then I study the Vedas, and I'm a very peaceful person. Anyway, he started to speak to the Swami, and the Swami, the monk, was so impressed that this butcher was so knowledgeable, so in tune with the divine. In other words, the moral of this story is never judge a book. We never know about what's in people's hearts and minds. I think I used to probably judge a lot in those days, how people looked and what they were thinking. And I think this story changed my way of doing that. It's really like, wow, never judge a book by its cover. You don't know. Always give people chances. And I see people do it a lot, like I used to do it a lot. Because we have this tendency as human beings, that we've been brought up in society to do that. And we need to come away from that. So, who is holy, who's not holy, who knows? I had a student that everybody thought, you know, oh, she talks a lot, and she's like this, like that, and I don't like her. And one day I turned around and I said, she may talk a lot, she may be very loud, but you know one thing you don't know about her? She's the purest girl I know inside. I never heard her put anyone down. I have never, all her mind thinks about is how I can serve. Just because she has a loud voice and speaks so much and is very forceful, you don't see what I see in her. Really, over time, when she managed to be in the yoga center, etc. more, and did so many good things for so many people, she won all their respect. But it took them like 2 or 3 years to see it. I never liked her. And I said, just give her time. You give yourself time to know her. Oh, no. It's really true. So you just don't know. You know, and she's always there for everyone. Always there for everyone. You need help, you can depend on her. So you cannot judge a book by its cover. You don't know what goes on in people's minds and their hearts. So that's my last sutra for today. When I'm away next week, Kamala, Ole, and Shanti will be doing the class the week after, and they'll be speaking about ways of meditation. So do come, because it'll be very interesting. And then after that, Mangala will come and speak about your obstacles to meditation, about disease, dullness, doubt, and all those things. And then the third week is it pranayama?
Morals, we've got morals as well.
Oh, oars.
Oars, yeah,
morals,
oars.
yeah.
And Liz is very kindly offered. She does a lot of work with chakra, so if you want to fill in half an hour, 40 minutes, Liz has very kindly offered, if you're interested, to discuss more about chakras with you. Am I correct, Liz?
Yeah. Well, the work I do is with energy and do clearing of chakras. And because we were talking about them on Saturday, I thought
That's
it was
right.
interesting. And if anybody wants theirs checked out or set in the right direction, no problem.
So that's what she was saying. And what else do we have?
Then revision of
Then revision. Okay, starting from the beginning, revision. And then I'll be back. So, and then we'll continue the studies, yeah? So now that we have a few minutes here, any questions you have or you would like to ask? It doesn't have to do with the sutras, can do with the Gita or anything. If I can answer it, I'm happy to answer it. Or anything you have on the text itself. Anything you want to share from your learning of these texts. Okay, yes, Ole.
I just wanted to say thank you, Nalanie, once again. I mean, what you do for all of us, you have no idea. Because it spreads out from all of us to other people as well, so it's just going. So
Thank
there's
you.
one bearded guy there, very proud of you.
Pardon?
There's
Oh,
one bearded guy over there who's very, very proud of you.
Thank you.
No,
You're so
thank you.
kind to me always. You always are so kind to me. Thank you. Thank you, Ole. Thank you. Very much indeed. It's my joy.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's my joy. So what can I offer? What can I teach you? Is there anything you would like to learn? Yes.
How do we bring this on a mass scale? You know, the teachings, the knowledge, obviously using discernment. When you leave this room, it's very different. It's a different world. You have
It is a different
you have to
world.
realise that, and it's a lot of people here are having difficulty because they want to bring it out to a much larger audience and a broader sphere of people. So how do we do that?
You know, I don't worry too much
Slowly,
about.
of course.
Yes, slowly. You know what? I ask God. For me, God is this universal energy. Call it whatever you might. Light. For me, it's light and love, right? Its imagery is light for me and love. I just ask God to use me, bless me, and use me to help as many people as possible every single day of my life. That's all I know how to do. Because if I start thinking, what happens if we need to be out there, we need to spread the message, while we do it, do you see there's a kind of attachment to that could get you in a whirlpool, that if you're not getting anywhere, you could get disturbed by it. Like I see many teachers, you know, when they can't get through to people. I want to get through to more people. Why are not people coming to my classes? They get really stressed. So that's the adverse energy we send down. So I would advise, you know, just ask that. Use me. Use me for the best of mankind. And if we can help mankind as quickly as possible, make me pure so I can do it quickly. Make me pure as you can, so I can do it quickly. That's how I would do it. And then let the divine decide. I'm not in charge anyway.
It's like a chain reaction, isn't it?
Correct.
Love thy neighbour as yourself.
As yourself.
So if we do it one-to-one, it spreads quickly.
Yeah, and ask to be used.
And also the effect that you end up having for one or two people that feed it back to you. There's many more that just don't tell you, but do carry it forward as well. You know, I found that with time that people years after tell you, oh no, I did this and this because you remember you said, you know, you don't realise what kind of effect you do have on a lot of people, because sometimes it doesn't come back to you.
Yeah, doesn't matter. And it's not important. Yeah? It doesn't matter. You just open your heart. It's a really good question. You should just open your heart and it'll come to you. Like, for example, if you're good with, like he is good with the computers, etc. I mean, it's because of Ole that there's filming. And because of Ole, it's on the website. And who did it? He did it, and nothing to do with it. It came to him to take, isn't it true? It came to him, and then Shanti loved the idea, and both of them started working together on that.
There's lots of people that watch
Yeah.
it.
Look at Pilar, what happens, right? She saw my book, which is nothing in Spanish. Can I translate this? It's great, thank you. She translated it. Do you know how happy this morning the Spanish women were? Yeah, finally something in Spanish. Didn't they say that?
so
Yeah.
happy.
You were so, weren't they? You were there this morning.
So,
We sold quite a few books this morning because of you.
Yeah.
Do you see? So did I asked the universe, if you want to spread it, you spread it. And it spreads. It happens on its own when you work from that energy field. But if I know many people when I travel abroad, they say, Nalanie would like more books from you. And I go, but if I spent so much time writing books, then I couldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be able to be with my grandchildren. I wouldn't be able to spend time with all the private patients if I had to write a book. Maybe that will come in its own time. So, and then books are created. A couple of the students in Gibraltar have done some transcripts. Hopefully I take it to Hong Kong and I may have some time there. There's a new book just about to be published in London of my sayings. She got all the sayings together that she's written down. Then when I write on my journeys, I just write different sayings, puts it down. Look, you don't worry about it. These things will happen. Then Lakshmi, let's put it together professionally. Then Janaki from London and Patty, her husband, is a printer. I want to do it as service for mankind. So now they all work on it. Ole put it together in a very incredible form, spent hours doing the cover, etc. So many people, and now he's going to print it. Hopefully it'll be ready in 2 weeks. I don't have to worry about a thing, to be quite honest, except sitting in a train and editing for 3 hours. That's my job, just focus and work. And the words, and sometimes I just write those things. And what I'm trying to tell you is I just think it's a lovely question. And I see that so many people are so worried about giving out that there is so much stress in it that they don't work with the divine energies. Do you see? It'll come to your mind. It's really, if you just pray like that and ask to be used, say, God, use me. And then next morning you'll get up and somebody will give you a call and you need to be used. It's like that. It is so like that. It just happens. Bless me may always be used for positive, for good. Because as you think, and that's the quickest way to get out. And the most purest. Because the person that calls you or the person comes to you is the person who really will make a difference with the knowledge. Why? Because they made the effort to call you. That's why people say, do you advertise? I never advertise. Why? I know if I advertise when on the internet, we have so many more people. But I just prefer the people that really have the pure hearts. Because you are the ones with the pure hearts. Because you really have the discipline to come all the time, rain or shine. So I know if you have the discipline to come, rain or shine, then you have the discipline and the pure hearts to spread it. So like you said, people do spread it. How many have gone out there, become teachers now? It's great to watch. It's great to watch. In different fields. In special needs, in different fields, in writing, and they've really flown, and they share with so many people wherever they are. It's wonderful. When Julio, one of our students, became the mayor last year of Gibraltar, he's no longer the mayor. Do you know what? He got an article written on a Spanish newspaper, which never happens. What a good mayor. Buen alcalde. He was a mayor for 1 year. After so many years, nobody had, when you go to the mayor's, what do you call them, their hall, what is the word?
Chambers.
Chambers. Mayors, they have cocktails there, etc. They never made provisions for people on wheelchairs. The first thing he did when he was made a mayor, he went to the government and said, you're isolating those people. So he's the first mayor to get them to get an electric lift to go up these steps to go to these cocktails. And what did he do? His first invitations to people who should have been there for many years and never seen it. Do you see what I'm saying? So there you spread, you know. So when I saw him as a man, it made me so happy, so proud, you know. And goodness spreads like that, through people. And if you're not a people person, and then you can do it through books, and then you can do it through magazines, you can write short articles, you can, you know, spread it over the internet. Nowadays there's Facebook, things that are uplifting, positive. That's the way to do it. Good. Yes, Steve?
If you could give everyone in this room just one piece of advice for all of us, what would it be?
Be peaceful. Be peaceful. Because if you're peaceful, that's really good energy, high energy. Yeah. Love yourself as well, but be peaceful. Because peace is a very vibrant energy in it. It's magic. And you help people to relax when you're peaceful. If somebody's agitated and you're peaceful and they walk in, you give them medicine. It's the best medicine you can give people. Peace. Especially in this day and age. So many people stressed out. So many overstressed. For what? We're going to die. Let's all enjoy it a little in life. Yes, Ole.
No, you're talking about energy and frequencies and so on. And I know if you talk about low energies like anger and quarrel and fight, it's low energy. And if you see a low energy and you take another low energy that meets it, it amplifies. So it goes like this.
Oh, yes.
But if you take a very high energy, and you have one of those, and you have like, what happens when they meet is it totally annuls the lower frequency. It doesn't start fighting, it doesn't do anything, it just erases it, just like light goes to the darkness. And I think that is exactly what is happening with love, when whatever they say, whatever the problem is, love is the answer. Love will just annul it.
Love is the answer.
Mm.
But so many people love with condition, you see?
But then it's not that
That
high
is
level.
not highest, yeah. It's conditioned. I love you because you do this for me. I love you because you're kind to me. I don't love you when you tell me off. It's unconditional, right? So many people don't know how to do that, to love unconditionally. And I always say, look at a parent to the child, and in some way you get that unconditional love, that feeling of unconditional love. And we can build that up. We can do, yes, it is absolutely true. You know, even in a hatha class, in the old days, I remember we used to have beginners. Well, when we started with the Tuesdays a year ago, whenever it was, beginners. And of course, all the beginners, everybody slowly. And what happens is, over time, when one person gets better, and one person who comes in who's not a beginner, and then we speed up the class, you find that everybody catches up really quick. Now, everybody in the class on the G-spot is very good. Today we had a newcomer, for example. I asked her, she's in a corner with a cold, and whose friend was it? Who brought her over? Your friend, right? Yeah, she hadn't done hatha before. And I watched her. But because everybody was so advanced, she quickly picked it up so quickly. She didn't have to go through
Our
beginning.
friend as well, she's not done it before.
Really? This one
I
here?
think she's done it like once.
She was brilliant.
Yeah.
No problem. She had no problem with it, with any of the postures. And then, you start to realize, exactly like you said, in everything in life, even with my special needs grandchild. But we knew that from the very beginning, because obviously with this science. So we always try to put her with advanced situations. Because we first of all took her to a prana, which works with all special needs. Because that's what she sees, that's what they think of her, so don't always put her in a box. So then my daughter said to me, Mom, there's a normal school. It's called St. George's. Any of you know St. George's in San Pedro? Brilliant school. Absolutely brilliant.
My daughter went there for about 3 years.
Yeah, wasn't it brilliant?
Beautiful.
They're just so loving.
Mm.
So loving. And it's mainstream. So went for an interview. and spoke to the headmistress, who also, she had her child that also had problems as a child, but now she's 21 and doing quite well. Anyway, so they made the exception of allowing Talia in normal school. Since she's gone to school, a lot of progress. Why? Imitation. She loves her friends. She gets so happy to go to school. Gets so happy. Because when you raise, like Ole say, you raise them. And that's why when mothers come to me with special, we can't do it. Don't think like that. You never know. Yes, of course they will have certain limitations because they have those kind of bodies. But if you put them in a situation and challenge them, they can do it. They may take a lot longer, but they can do it. And I think my daughter did it very wise. I went with her to the interview, and I was so happy that she was accepted. Everybody said she won't be accepted. She got accepted. So, and she was on, stage a few months ago. So cute, See her with all the other kids, Okay, her movements were brilliant, but she was there on stage and laughing and clapping and so excited and not freaking out, but seeing so many, 200 parents looking at her? No. So, yeah, we can raise our standard. We can easily. That's why I always say, when you're depressed or sad, if you are not the type of person to go to people, then stay in your room, cheer yourself up. That's the way I am. When I used to be, I don't think I get depressed. When I used to close the door and sleep. Don't disturb the world. Because the more I would get angry outside, the worse it gets. Just go to sleep, close my eyes, sleep. That's it, 2 hours later, gone, over, finished. If you can't do that and you need help, always go to somebody who is positive and happy. Don't go to somebody who will say, oh, I'm so sorry this has happened to you, and why did they do this to you, and agree with you and say, yes, you should leave your wife and you should leave your husband. Because you know why? My marriage is bad, so yours must be bad. So let's all leave everybody. Don't do that, because they will tell you that. Unfortunately, that's the truth. That's the truth. But instead, go to somebody who will say, try and look at the good points of this person. Really study the situation before you make get yourself in a nice place where you're happy, and then you can see from above, is this relationship really good for you or not? But at least it's your decision. And I know so many people who've made the wrong decision. So many have come to me and said, I wish I didn't leave my first partner because the second one's worse. And they just listened to everybody. And I remember once I was away traveling, this couple they were going to split. And so I said, why? He said, oh, my husband's always depressed, and I've been speaking to everybody, and all my friends say, why do you want to be with a depressed person? He so it puts me down every time. I'm so positive, and they're all right, they've all left, and they're all happy. I said, really? And they said, well, they're okay, and they do have their problems. And so I said to her, well, can I see your partner? I met her partner. What a nice man. What a gentle soul. You know why he was depressed? Because she was always so busy that she separated him totally from her world. And she would come in and say, well, you're depressed. So, and every day tell him the same and never ask him how his day was. And he missed her. So I called her and I said to both of them, they both talked, let's give it a try, give it 6 months. I said, please spend more time with him. He needs nurturing. He's just going through a really, really tough time. He misses you. I said, why don't you just tell her you miss her? So he did, and then they both started crying, they hugged each other. And today, oh my God, they do everything together now. Everything. What a beautiful couple they are. And the only reason she left it was because she listened to people who were bringing her energy down. Not every case is the same. In this case, well, sometimes the energy is bad of the other partner. you know. I had another case where a woman was with this man for 25 years, and they've all allowed me to tell this story, okay? So, and she was with him for 25 years, and she came to me crying her eyes out, and I said, what's wrong? She said, I can't be with this man anymore. And you know, the reputation of this man was quite good. I heard of the family, etc. And then, of course, she told me, she said, well, he has some quirks. And I said, what kind of quirks? So she said, no, this is absolutely true. She's really allowed me to tell this story because it's really that traumatic, you know. He likes to visit prostitutes. And he always wants me to take part a threesome. Yeah. And I said, what have you done? And I said, have you done it? She said, yes. She said, I can't do it anymore. I feel sick. When I come home, I want to scrub my body. I want to clean myself. And I said, why didn't you just tell him no? I said, because everybody says that I'm going to be a bad wife. I said, who told you going to be a bad wife? Who would encourage such a thing? Oh, nobody, but he says if I really love him and he's kind to me, in other senses, he gives me my home, but I can't do it anymore. I'm sick. I just can't, I have to leave him. So I called him in and I said, you know, your wife really loves you, but you can't do this anymore. And if you want to keep her, you have to stop it, because she can't go against her nature. You're going to make her sick and she's going to die. I cannot encourage her to do something like this just to please you. And he said, you know, she's my wife. She must do that for the rest of her life. And I said, but it's making her sick. Look at her, she's crying. She wants to make this marriage work. Won't you give in? And he said, no. And then he started swearing at her and screaming at me. And I just called, somebody was outside in my office in Gibraltar. I said, please, can you tell this man to leave this place? And I said, you know what? I think you should leave him. Because he was horrendous. And you know, nobody had seen that side of him. It was horrendous. Honestly, it was so horrible. I'd never seen anybody treat him so badly. So she left him. Within a year, she met somebody really, really lovely. But she took a lot of abuse for 25 years. A lot for 25 years. Again, just because she didn't want to be the bad woman who leaves this good man who's successful in business and everybody sees that side of him. He's so successful. He's, you know, so elegant in public. But look what he makes her do behind her back. It's hard life. It's not so easy. And she's now with this wonderful man. And she's so happy for the first time in her life. At 62 or 63, she's finally found peace and joy. And you know, the odd thing was, after that, he was so horrible within a year. Isn't it interesting? He lost all his money in his business. He lost his 2 homes.
Could not go to the hookahs anymore.
I don't know. I just got the information from other people. And every time, I never ask. I never ask for what happens. I finish a case and it's finished. But people always, I get information from people whenever I need it. And I go, oh my God, completion of the story. As you sow, you reap. Really. And he was so proud. He said, I'm not going to give you a penny. I'm not going to look after you, you know, unless you sleep with all these. I said, but can't you see it's killing her? I don't care. I don't care. Let her. You know, so cruel, so cruel. And so you don't know, right? You just don't know. That's why I say you don't know wrong or right. You just, every case is different. So what else? What other stories? Anybody got any nice stories to tell me?
Can I ask you
Yes, sure.
a silly question I was asked when we were discussing karma? And they said, well, yeah, you know, like how you clear your karma, you know, so that you're supposed to do good, so, you know, you clear your past. And they ask, well, so, you know, when we are, like, if we all become good and do so good, there won't be people on earth. But, because they said, you know, at one point you don't have to come back, right? When you become so pure, you just like soul, and they said so at one point there wouldn't be people on earth, and I didn't know what to reply.
Yes, at one point there'll be no people on earth.
It is like that.
There will be
Okay.
one point there'll be no people on earth.
I thought it was a silly question, you know, because by someone there is no.
At one point, but it could be
Because
billions of
sometimes
years from now.
you know, there are people ask you these questions, and you, like I said, I don't know. I will have to ask Nalanie this.
Yeah. But it could be millions and billions of years. How many ice ages have we
That's
had?
what I said. I said, you know, it's not going to happen anytime soon.
You know?
New souls created.
That's what I was just
Yeah,
about to
there's going to
ask.
be new souls created.
New soul.
Pardon?
Wouldn't there be new souls created?
Yes.
So
There'll be
they will
no-
continue, wouldn't it?
It will continue so long. That's why I say it can take millions or billions of years. But one day, by the law of entropy, everything will change.
Was that how it was in the beginning? Is that how it was in the beginning?
What was in the beginning?
Though the earth was just pure in the beginning.
I don't know. I wasn't here. No, I'm just teasing. I like that question. I think the earth is very pure in the beginning. Yes.
so many bad people
Is that so many? We're really overpopulated now, aren't we? There's a lot of bad people around by now.
Yeah. I think.
So overpopulated.
Yeah, I think the world was very pure. Thank you. I think the world was very pure when it was created. I think, you know, man was given the opportunity, as the Bible says, to enjoy the Garden of Eden. And I still think today, I know we have been given the same opportunity, but we're so darkened in ignorance that we can't enjoy the Garden of Eden. And what happened was, Adam was given the job of, for me, the job of creating, enjoying, giving animals names, working with the animals, working with the trees. And I think the Creator saw that without that energy of communication, the dualities, that it created woman. And you know, it says in the Bible, it took a rib from Adam and created Eve. And this is why for me, I think that's why we always look for male, female energies to feel one. Because we came from one. That's why yin and yang, and when we do this, we become one. And that's why you're always looking for the opposite energy so that you feel complete.
But
Is everything-
now it's not in balance because the earth right now is most male energy.
Yeah, you know, I also, the energy is, you can say more male energy, yet more, but you know, I don't even like to say that because that doesn't really sound right because these males could have been females in a previous life. At the moment, the energy is control, power, total materialism, total fear, so it's in the wrong energy field. What happened when the apple was presented, do not, you know, the Bhagavad Gita says, do not eat of the fruit of your actions. In other words, give for the sake of giving. Love for the sake of loving. When you expect something in return, this is the problem that starts karmic. Right? You do something good and you want something back. You don't get it back, you get upset. When you get upset, you react badly. So what have you created? A chain. Listen, just do for the sake of doing and then drop it. And drop it. Don't think too much about it. And the fruit was suggesting the fruit of knowledge, the apple. So what happened to man is enjoy your apple, share it. But what happened is we started to become selfish and started to, oh, why does he have more and I have less? And then we got more and more dense with time. Then all the great leaders came. We had Buddha who came before Jesus. And then we had Mahavira. We had so many great people to bring us back, to bring us back, to bring us back. And now again, as Bhagavad Gita says, every time there's unrighteousness in the world, I will come back in a human form. And we've had many great masters this last 100 years, and I'm sure many that we haven't even met as yet. There must be many good people. And why? Because we have got involved thinking that we have become gods and overtaking the world, wanting to control. So that's why there is so much bad in the world. And of course, the religions also turn bad with egoism, which was their problem, wanting to be in charge, politicians, greed. So they abused, everybody's abused their power. And we just follow like sheep. Yeah.
I read that the Nag Hammadi texts that were discovered in 1947 actually have been translated now, and they've been translated purely, not had thousands of years of misinterpretation, I suppose. And there's no mention of kings, there's no mention, because they were documenting at the time, 2,100 years ago, what was going on. No mention of kings, no mention of priests, no mention of rulers. There's nothing.
Everybody was equal.
Yeah, so I think it's only a very recent thing, this whole
Yes.
power, rule, pyramid system.
Yes.
So what's the Nag Hammadi texts? They are from
I haven't
the influence
read them,
of the Hindu.
but I haven't read them. But
Okay.
of course it is, that's all recent. Everything is recent. All those king, exactly like you said, we're born equal. Yes.
I want to talk it up because it's a really interesting thing. About 2 months ago, I saw it in ITV3, a documentary called The Story of India. Archaeologists went down 20 meters and found this 5,000 years old city, which I don't remember. Was there written records as well?
Hastinapura, where the Bhagavad Gita war.
Probably. There was no all that, and what they achieved was 1,000 years of peace.
Yes, there's many. Yes, there's lots of
Archaeology
these.
is backing it up.
Yeah, yeah. There is. My father called that the Satya Yuga. You know, when we were young, he said that was the age of truth. They lived the earth. We lived in an age of truth, where people were able to communicate with God all the time, and everybody spoke the truth and lived in the truth, and there was great peace on earth. There was great peace. It's called Satya Yuga. Now we're in Kali Yuga, which Kali Yuga is the age of greed. But all this was predicted. Now you have to ask.
But Nalini, we really going to change now.
Yeah, we're going. In fact, in the book Holy Science, Sri Yukteswar says that with the coming of the electrical light bulb, it is already now starting to go so bad that it has to change to good. So we come back to pardon?
The name of that?
The Holy Science by Sri Yukteswar. He was the guru. Yeah.
So are we moving back towards the Satya from the
Working
Kali?
back to Satya Yuga.
So this is why people are starting to wake up a little bit and
Yes.
ask questions.
And start to tell the truth and
Yeah.
expose the truth. and-
It's a cycle.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a cycle. We start to go back. Yeah, and how quick we go back, again, that's up to us.
Mm.
This is where we have Agami Karma. It's
right.
like you said,
That's
how
right,
can we make
here.
it? We have Agami Karma.
Mm.
How fast is up to us? But my master said something to me. He said, you know, if you want world peace, then become peaceful yourself. You know, we have people saying, what world peace? What world peace? And look at their faces. Do you know? I want peace. We want world peace. And then fight with your partner all day long and scream and shout and swear. You know? So if you really want peace, world peace, start with yourself. Make your home peaceful. And then from there, everything will spread. It will spread. I mean, look at one Gandhi, one small Gandhi, how much he believed in peace, non-violence. And what an influence. He moved governments. One small man, one Jesus, one Sri Swami Satchidananda. Do you see what I'm saying? One person being peaceful creates this vortex of energy. That's why when you ask me that one thing I'd wish for all of you, be peaceful. When you're peaceful, a lot of information comes. You don't even have to study. You know, every time I come, I have no time to study or look at books. And then when I do, because I have to give you technical information like chakras and gunas on Saturday, everybody falls asleep. So I think I'm going to just stick to instinctive information. Do you see? Really, they were all falling asleep on Saturday. So why am I bothering with all this technical knowledge? Because I was following book, maybe you should have all this technical knowledge. You know, but really, you know, just be peaceful and have a higher thing in your mind for the best of all, for the best of all, for the best of all. And you really have to go past your ego to do that, you know, because you will be faced, all of you will be faced, because this is the road I've taken. Your mind will say, but why should I do it? And I should get this, you know, all this fruit. I want this for myself, and what can I get? And everybody will tell me, why shouldn't you? And you have to keep fighting yourself. You have to, in the beginning, discipline. No, I'm different. No, I'm working for the highest good. Keep on it. And one day you don't even have to fight yourself anymore. It's just so natural. You know, it's hard. I'm not saying it's an easy path, but follow your heart. You can't go wrong, because that's the unconditional love. That's the unconditional love. You have to follow that. The world will tell you that to follow that is not such a good idea, but I tell you it's a really good idea. I've only seen it in my own life. Just give unconditional love, that's all. To yourself. And believe what you believe in, you know, stick to it, stick to it, stick to it. You know, like you said, the moment you walk out of this room, oof, it's a totally different energy. You have to bring this energy up to the world.
Sometimes you doubt yourself, you know, you try to believe in yourself, and then something comes and stirs you a bit, and then you doubt yourself again.
And quite often you give that trust over, and you allow...
You won't be hurt.
Yeah, you allow that, the goodness and the spirit of what you believe in to come out, and people say, oh yeah, great. That's really great, and then they really trash that trust and take it for themselves, and you think, wow, you know, that's... I think a lot of people are experiencing that too as well, you know. Stealing.
You know what? It's a great lesson for me. I continue to love and trust, but just learn discriminative discernment. Who to love, who to trust. Who to trust. Love all, but who to trust. Be wise. That's discriminative discernment. Love all, but don't trust all. Because some people, not because of, you can tell, they'll use it for their own good. And we're here to see if we can get pain, bear insult, bear injury, and still love. We just get wiser with our love. That's all. We just get wiser.
When you are not trusting because you know there's something there not to trust, then you're having a negative thought in some way.
It's not a negative thought. It's not a negative thought.
Instinctive, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's instinct. You know, some people are just untrustworthy. Is it true or not? They just are. So you don't, it's not a negative thought. It's your instinct telling you this person is untrustworthy. Follow that. That's your instinct. Don't think, oh, I'm having it. It's not a negative thought. No, they are untrustworthy. Oh, I have to be good and I have to trust them. No, because your instinct is telling you stay away. But you are thinking, egoism, that I want to be a good person. See, it's not about good or not. It's the instinct. In fact, somebody called me long distance just yesterday for 1.5 hours with that same point. You know, so this person says you have to do it this way, and this person says be holy, and this person's like this and like this and like that. And I said, so, you believe it? Why are you upset? So my instinct says not to follow. So I said, what did you just tell me? My instinct says I don't trust this. I believe God is freedom. So what is your instinct telling you, I asked her again, that this person is trying to put me in a box and make me think like her because she wants to control me. So then why are you so dumb? Why the headache? Why give yourself, don't go there. Finish, just say, sorry, your style is not for me. Finish. Oh, it's that simple. She's been suffering 3 weeks with that one thing, thinking she was a bad person to have that thought. Wasn't she smart? Actually, the instinct was really right. I don't want to tell her, because she had to work it out herself, but I know that person. I know that person has her own issues. So her instinct was really protecting her, but she would not listen. And because she would not listen, it loved her so much, it kept on nagging her, making her sick. She picked up the phone, and she heard what she said. I said, what did you say? Listen to yourself. Are you a bad person? I asked her. I said, you're one of the kindest people I know. Always looking after everyone. I said, in fact, you're so kind that sometimes I have to worry about you that you don't look after yourself. Not your style to think bad about anyone. Not your style, not your character. You just don't have it in you. That this thought is coming, it's your instinct. And that's discriminative discernment, you see? Hard. It's hard for a practitioner to know. But over time, you can start to see it very clearly. So I asked her, Claire, do you think that person is bad? She said, no. But do you think this person has this controlling thoughts? Yes. Okay, love her, don't get involved, stay away. Stay away, finish, so easy. Can I do that? Why not? Will you go into a lion's den if you don't know how to tame a lion? What will happen? You only go into the lion's den when you know how to tame a lion, correct? Now, if you can't tame a lion, you go to the den, you're going to be in trouble. You have to learn so many little things, yeah? Life teaches you.